Good evening. This is my The People Speak assignment. I'm going to talk about a person named Eugene Debs. Eugene Debs was a labor leader and one of the most well-known socialists in the United States. He was born in 1855 and died in 1926. He left home at the age of 14 to work on railroad shops and later became a locomotive fireman. In 1875, he helped form the Brotherhood of Locomotive Firemen. He became an American Union leader and one of the founding members of the Industrial Workers of the World. Debs was a member of the Democratic Party in his early political career. He was instrumental in forming the American Railroad Union, which was one of the nation's first industrial unions. Debs called for a boycott on the Pullman Car Company after they issued pay cuts for workers. This culminated into the nationwide strike called the Pullman Strike. He was subsequently jailed for 6 months. Debs embraced socialism and was the candidate of the Socialist Party of America in 5 presidential elections. Later on in his life, Debs made a speech in opposition to America's participation in World War I. He subsequently was arrested under the Espionage Act of 1917 and sentenced to 10 years imprisonment in 1918. He later died in 1926, shortly after being admitted to a sanatorium. During his conviction, he made the following statement in opposition to the war. The master class has always declared the wars. The subject class has always fought the battles. At his trial in 1918, Eugene Debs addressed the court as follows. Your Honor, years ago I recognized my kinship with all living things, with all living beings. I made up my mind that I was not one bit better than the meanest on earth. I said then, and I say now, that while there's a lower class, I am in it. While there's a criminal class, criminal element, I am of it. While there's a soul in prison, I am not free. Your Honor, I have stated in this court that I am opposed to the social system in which we live, and I believe in a fundamental change, but if possible by peaceful and orderly means. Standing here this morning, I recall my boyhood. At 14 I went to work in a railroad shop. At 16 I was firing a freight engine on a railroad. I remember all the hardships and privations of that earlier day. And from that time until now, my heart has been with the working class. I could have been in Congress long ago. I preferred to go to prison. I'm thinking this morning of the men in the mills and the factories, of the men in the mines and on the railroads. I'm thinking of the women who, for a paltry wage, are compelled to work out their barren lives, of the children who in the system are robbed of their childhood, and in their tender years are seized in the remorseless grasp of mammon, and forced into the industrial dungeons, there to feed monster machines, while they themselves are being starved and stunted body and soul. I see them dwarfed and diseased, and their little lives broken and blasted because in this high noon of Christian civilization, money is still much more important than the flesh and blood of childhood. In very truth, gold is God today, and rules with pitiless sway in the affairs of men. I am opposed to a social order in which it is possible for one man who does absolutely nothing that is useful to amass fortunes of hundreds of millions of dollars, while millions of men and women who work all all the days of their lives, secure barely enough for a wretched existence. This order of things cannot always endure. I have registered my protest against it. I recognize the feebleness of my effort, but fortunately I am not alone. I see the dawn of the better day for humanity. The people are awakening, and in due time they will and must come to their own.